Hello, my name is Kazu from 10AS, and I have a specific problem I'm facing in my daily life right now. And I'm sure someone out there has a similar problem, but I'm also sure that nobody has the exact same case as me. I'm going to get right into it. I have a problem with choosing the suitable pair of socks for each school day. Introducing the CCCSC, choosing correct colored socks complication, or the SSSSS, which is selecting suitably styled socks situation. Now you might be thinking, just pick a random pair and wear it. But it's not that straightforward for me. I don't know how, but I grew up forming this system telling me how or what I should decide in different situations. And today is just about one of those very complicated situations. I have simple sets of rules and instructions telling me which pair to wear on that day. But before that, I'd like to talk about my stupendous sock system, the SSS. There are more than 10 pairs of socks, or what I consider them to be school socks, that I can choose from in my drawer. And I say consider because the text from the parents' handbook in the school says, all children must wear black leather shoes with plain white socks. Black leather shoes. I'm wearing them right now. Plain white socks. Unfortunately, only 4 or 5 pairs fit this description. And I put this slide in just to make sure I won't be hassled afterwards. Let's move on. I'll be talking about the groups of socks. I separate my socks into 3 different categories. The school socks in my drawer are separated by their looks and design. The first group is called the solo socks. Now, the solo socks, they're on their own. They're unique. No other pairs match them. This is an example. They have vertical stripes, and it goes all the way over the ankles. And no other pairs match this, so I consider them to be solo socks. The next group is called the twin socks. 2 pairs that are identical and similar in design and color, but they must be worn an equal amount of time a week. This is an example. As you can see, the corresponding H logos and the 2 horizontal stripes at the top. The features also include the vertical stripy texture at the top and the color space, they're the same. So I consider them to be the twin socks. The last group is called the active socks. Now, if you haven't guessed from the title, they're worn mainly on physical activities. So if I have any sporting games on that day, active socks are the ones that I wear. And the key features include a good ventilation system and a sports logo. This is an example. As you can see at the top of the socks, there's a section showing big holes, and I think that's for some cool air to go in to fight off the heat in Thailand, especially for the outdoor activities. And also at the back, you can see the black and white Adidas logo. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but if I see a piece of clothing and it has a sports brand logo on it, I immediately think that it's a professional gear for professional athletes. And if there's 2 black shirts, just normal plain t-shirts, and one had a Nike logo on it, I'll probably choose the Nike one to go for a jog or to play football with it, because I feel like a professional player. Well, that's just me, and sports brand logo is one of the features of the active socks. Now, some of them can be in 2 groups, so I'll be saying words like the solo active socks. The active socks, they're on their own. But none of them fit in all, so there won't be such words as solo twin active socks. It doesn't make sense. Now I'll be talking about the rules I follow in order to get the fitting pair. The criteria. Now, these are the rules that I follow to choose which socks to wear on that day. The socks theme or feature must match or describe something about that day or how I feel. The solo socks are worn in special occasions, such as ceremonies, or a normal school day, or something called a day with nothing much to it. It's just a day with just 7 school lessons, and there's no extracurricular activities. And the twin socks are similar, but as I mentioned before, they must be worn an equal number of times a week, so it could be 2 days with ceremonies or 2 days with nothing much to it. Now, this might be hard to understand, so I decided to put an example of my week. If you haven't realized already, Monday and Friday, they're the twin socks. They're the same. The design and color are the same. And I wear it on Monday and Friday because on Monday and Friday, I don't have any after-school activities or any sporting events, so that's why I wear them. Tuesday and Thursday, they're also twin socks, but they're also active socks. If you haven't realized from the Adidas logo and the big holes at the top, this is because on Tuesday and Thursday, I have one PE lesson and one training session. And on Wednesday, I wear the solo active socks because I have a PE lesson. So I hope that made the system a little more clear. But next, so far, the problem doesn't seem to be a problem at all. I mean, it's just socks. However, it is a serious problem. That's why I made this TED Talk. In fact, we haven't even reached the real deal yet. That's what I'm going to call the next part, the real deal. Now, what I'm about to show you is a plan for my week. On Monday and Friday, I wear the solo socks. Tuesday and Thursday is the same as last week. It's the twin active socks. On Wednesday, I wear the solo active socks. It seems to be like a well-organized plan and doesn't seem to have a flaw in it. But this is how my week actually goes. Monday, as planned, I wear the solo socks. Tuesday, I wear the first pair of the twin active socks. This means that I'll be needing to wear the second pair on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. In this case, Thursday. Wednesday, I wear the solo active socks, just as planned. The first 3 days are cool. But then Thursday comes around, and this happens. Wait. There's a football match today, and I'm leaving on lunchtime. This means I won't be doing PE today. This means that there's no valid reason to wear the second pair of the active socks. I must change to the solo socks. So I make this quick change. Not a serious problem. But hold on a second. These are the twin pairs. And as I mentioned many times, they must be worn an equal number of times a week. That means I'll be having to wear the second pair on either Thursday or Friday. But the problem is, I don't have a training session or PE, even on Friday. That means I'll be having to break the rules. So I'm forced to break the rules. This happens. Thursday, I wear the solo socks. And Friday, I wear the solo socks as planned. Now, I thought I was going to end the week just with me being unsatisfied because I broke the rules. But on Friday, something happens. Turns out, I have a house dodgeball game on Friday, and I could have used those pair. This means that I broke the rules even though I didn't need to. This leaves me really uncomfortable and unsatisfying. The feeling of regret attacks me from the inside, and my emotions are everywhere. So I hope that example showed you how serious the problem is and how big the scale of the situation is. But at this moment, you might be desperate to ask some questions. Because I talked about the socks, showed you some cool socks, and talked about the problem, gave out some examples, and showed you how my week went. Now what? Did I just come here to share the fact that I'm a little different in my daily life? What's the purpose of this presentation? Because you might be expecting me to ask everyone a question, or a question maybe to ask some advice, how to solve this situation. The questions might be, what's the best combination to solve all complications? Or the question could be, what is the new set of regulations that I could follow to avoid all complications? The question might be, should I just throw the system away and wear random pairs every day? You might have a good solution or the perfect answer to these questions. But unfortunately, these are the wrong questions. Because I think the question you should be asking right now is, why did I make this system in the first place? If it was going to be this strict, and if I was going to be forced to break the rules anyways, why did I make this system? Now, I really thought about this question and came up with 2 different answers. This first answer is actually quite boring. It's about karma. A few years ago, I lost something really important to me. And I thought it would come back by believing in karma. If I do good things will happen to me. So I thought, if I do enough of the good things, the lost product will come back to me. But it didn't. And usually I'll stop there. I'll just say, oh, the karma thing doesn't work anymore. I should stop, I should move on. But actually that idea became stronger. And I said, I'm not doing enough of the good things. I need to try harder. And I think that idea slipped its way into my mind when deciding which sucks, I guess. But I call this the boring answer because the second answer is actually quite interesting. It's an interesting theory. What if my past self was trying to send a message to my now self indirectly through experiencing this ridiculous system? What if my past self was trying to send a message to my now self indirectly through experiencing this ridiculous system? Remember what I said earlier. I don't know how, but I grew up forming the system telling me how or what to decide in different situations. That's correct. The how bit, I don't know. If you ask me how I came up with this system, I have no clue. But what if the why bit, the objective of the system, was so that I could receive a message or to know more, to be a better person, or learn something new about the world or my life? So I started really digging into this question, and I thought of 5 themes that are related to the experiences in the system. So the themes are fairness, suitability, decision-making, emotion control, and regret. And then next I thought, what could the messages be? What could the events surrounding these themes could be telling me? And here's what I got. For fairness, I got, if someone has the rights, then everyone does. I'm talking about the active socks. Think about it carefully. Why is it only the active socks that gets to do PE lessons and training sessions? Isn't that unfair? Why doesn't the solo socks get to do it too? They might be crying in the corner. I'm limiting opportunities based on the groups I made. Doesn't that sound familiar? Something about this real world. I'm talking about racism and sexism. The active socks get to do this because they're in this group. The solo socks don't get to do this because they're in this group. In real world, it's that guy don't have the right to do this because he's in this race. That guy or girl don't get to do this, don't have the rights to do this because he or she or it is in this gender. It's the same. And this was when I realized that maybe this system was representing our world. Let's move on to the next message. Suitability. Sometimes you're forced to do something out of your comfort zone, even if it's not what you prepared for. So I thought this was a message that mainly applies to my life. Maybe it's an advice I can use in the near future when I face an obstacle. Like, it's something I'm not good at, but I have to do it, and this message might push me forward. Decision making. Small choices can affect a big part of your life. I'm talking about the example I was talking about. On Tuesday, I chose to wear the first pair of the twin socks. That restricted my choices on the socks on Thursday. So small choices can affect, the small choice of choosing the first pair affected the whole week by restricting Thursday to have the second pair be worn. Emotion control and regret. You will get a negative feeling like this many times in your life, and the best way to move on is to think of the future, because you can't fix the past. I think this also applies to my life. In the near future, in the future, I'll be experiencing sad events such as deaths or breakups or anything that's sad, and I think this advice can help push me through it. Now this is the first question I displayed in this presentation. Oh wait. Before I talk about the question, I would like to talk about the message that I found particularly important. The fairness message. If someone has the rights, then everyone does. This is because I tend to forget about the global issues that's happening around the world when I'm not directly affected by it. I think by experiencing the system, it got me thinking about the things that people are suffering, and that's why I think this message was really significant. Now, this is the first question I displayed. In this presentation today. Which pair of school socks should I wear today? This question doesn't matter anymore. It's not the point of this presentation. It's not the question you should be thinking about. It's not the question you should be worried about. I think this is. What if every action you take is trying to tell you something about the world or your life? What if every action you take is trying to tell you something about the world or your life? I'll be giving a few examples. I tripped in the corridor today, but I can't lift myself up because I don't have arm strength. Why did this happen? Maybe this trip is telling me to exercise more so that I can lift myself up whenever I'm done. I tripped in the corridor today. The books went everywhere. My textbook, the worksheets, my pencil case, it went all over the floor. Why did this happen? This reminds me of a movie scene where a new high school student doesn't fit in. Why does the trip remind me of that movie scene? Oh, that's right. Last week, I was watching a movie instead of revising for my test. And I failed that test because I prioritized having fun more than learning. Maybe this trip is telling me to start to prioritize the revising over the movies because the grades will drop, just like how I just dropped my books. I tripped in the corridor today. I fell on the red line in the middle of the corridor. Why? Wait, I fell in front of Arjun's locker. Why did this happen? Oh yeah, last week I had a fight. I had a really bloody fight with Arjun. Maybe this trip is telling me to go apologize to him, or else my friendship will fall apart, just like how my books fell apart. I was walking through a narrow passage, and my right hand hit the wall, but my left hand didn't. My right hand hurts now. Why? Thinking about it, last month, I had a volleyball match, and we lost partially because I failed to control the ball with using both hands. Maybe this event is telling me so that I can train more and be better at volleyball by being able to control the ball using both hands. I tripped in the corridor today. I fell on the red line. I fell on my right arm. What is this telling me? Maybe it's telling me that there's going to be a major injury in the future because red represents blood. And if I don't start training more, I'll be unhealthy and I'll be weak, and the injuries can happen really easily. I'll work harder on my volleyball skills. One event can have many meanings, and a series of events can link to one big message. So next time anything happens in your life, take some time off to think about why it happened, because there might be something important that you're missing out. What if every action you take is trying to tell you something about the world or your life? Thank you.